60 groups from around the globe will present an open letter to the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization today, demanding that carnivorous fish farms be excluded from the definition of sustainable aquaculture. The move comes ahead of World Oceans Day tomorrow and will urge the United Nations to re-evaluate its support of fish farms, where fish are fed fish meal and oil extracted from wild fish, criticised for the negative impact they have on the environment. Well, one of the people behind the move is Εύα Δουζίνα, president of the environmental investors, the Rauch Foundation. She's joining me from Greece, Thessalonica, I think, where they are studying industrial fish farming. Is that an ocean behind you?
Yes, it is. And I've chosen this spot to help remind us of what we're trying to protect today on World Oceans Day.
Why are carnivorous fish farms such a bad thing?
Well, there's three key reasons. Number one, just like you mentioned, salmon, sea bream, and sea bass require being fed other fish, and they're consuming up to 20% of our wild-caught fish to produce a much smaller quantity of fish. Conservatively, it takes about 1.2 kilos of wild fish to produce 1 kilo of farmed fish. And the second major... Oh, go ahead.
No, you keep going.
Oh, and the second major reason is the pollution from immense amounts of fish feces, excess feed, antibiotics, chemicals, plastics, and styrofoam are polluting the areas where the fish farms are based. So we're hurting communities, both where the wild fish are taken for fish meal and the communities where the fish farms are based, like here in Greece and in Tasmania, Scotland, Chile, and Iceland.
Okay.
Where communities are really pushing back on this industry.
Right. That's quite a statistic, 1.2 kilograms of wild fish to produce 1 kilograms of farm fish. But is the stuff being used waste? Is it parts of the ecosystem that wouldn't be used otherwise that they're being fed?
That might be part of the story, but investigative journalists have gone down and investigated the fish meal factories in West Africa, just as was done recently by Feedback Global. And they showed just for the Norwegian salmon industry, over 2 million tons of wild fish are being taken from West Africa to feed the salmon industry in Norway.
You're sending this open letter to the UN. What is it that you want them to do about it?
We want them to clarify the position on sustainable aquaculture. Right now, the communications are very misleading. Aquaculture is a very broad term. It refers to everything from seaweed farming to small-scale bivalve farming to carnivorous fish farming. We're asking that they clearly define that sustainable aquaculture does not include carnivorous fish farming, like the farming of salmon, sea bream, and sea bass.
Okay, I want to jump in just to ask you briefly. So if there's this need for protein around the world, what is the alternative solution then?
Well, if that is the need, that carnivorous fish farming actually reduces protein in the world. It doesn't increase it. So they're using more protein to create less protein. There are many types of sustainable aquaculture, like seaweed farming and small-scale bivalve farming, symbiotic rice paddy fish farms for herbivorous fish.
Right.
But what's happening today in the global north, which is the farming of salmon, sea bream, and sea bass, is destroying our...
Thank you. Sorry to cut you off. We're out of time, but thanks very much for coming on the show and sharing with us your message today. And thanks for you for joining us too.